All right, so here's your sign as I see it. Starting with the bracket, I've got 5/16 steel. I got this down about an inch. I went with a 3x3 quarter wall that you can burn all the way around. That you can burn all the way around, and you can burn this gusset, where you think you need it. If you want to use that gusset, I just was spitballing an idea that may or may not work. This is 2 inches here, and I just drop it all the way down. So I don't know if that's something you can cut out or have made or whatever. Or does this even need to go that far? Even if it goes to here or past this second bolt here, or if you could just take like a piece of 1x straight down to there. Maybe this angle looks funky. Whatever, you can play with that. I have these at 5/8, and I'm using these as guidance. I brought these in from McMaster Carr. So these are what we've used before. They're even longer than that if you think you need longer, whatever. This is just an idea. So they have 1/2 inch and 5/8. And I found the technical data for it. I'm not sure if it's 1018 steel. I'm sure it is, something like that. But going into steel, you've got some pretty high loads. So I'm pretty confident. But again, like we talked about, you're just guessing. If you don't get a PE to sign off, we're just guessing. I just play an engineer on TV. I'm not a real engineer. So everything in red is steel. So then you come to the bracket, like we talked about. This is elevation view. So this would be 3/16 aluminum. I think that's all you really need. And these are 2.5 by 2.5 square tube that you would go ahead and just weld to that all the way around. So looking at it from like this side, you could weld this all the way around, and then that would just be a clamp. Or if you think you could go 2 inch on that, you could go 2x2. I was just trying to fill it out. Don't want to make it look too skinny. But really that would be all that's really fabricated, is just welding these tubes to the 3/16, and then that will be your mounting plate, and then you can work from there. Then you can do everything you want. You can hang, you can work on that middle part, whatever. These are just 10-inch bolts here, but you can bring it up to 9.5 or whatever you think you need. So anyway, so this would sandwich against there, and then you would have the aluminum piece just hanging there, and then you would bring all the pieces together and get captured in the slot. So I went ahead and just made this 3/16, but you can push this as far as you dare. This is 0.2 depth groove that you would groove out. But you could make it go even more over here and just give yourself a little more room. But I would try to keep it as tight as possible, and obviously I wouldn't get rid of too much here. What's good about this is I'm making sure that it doesn't go all the way to the end. And the reason why is that way you have this area will be complete solid 3/8, full 3/8 there. Actually, I did do this true size. This is 0.356, so it's not 375. But anyway, so that's going to be pretty realistic. But as you can see, the groove stops here. So you have almost 2 inches here worth of just pure polycarbonate, and then the same thing on the ends. So what that means is when they meet up here, we're going to go ahead and notch this 3/16 plate, and the green is the polycarbonate. So we have this. I just made a 1/16 of an inch here for growth. So this will be a little bit loose here. That's fine, because it'll bonk up against here. But what that means is all of this is solid. So you have this whole part, and this whole part is complete 3/8 in the corners. That way it's not compromised. So as opposed to letting this slot go all the way through, then you're compromised to only to here. So you can go ahead and bring this together. You'll bring these together, and you'll bring these together, and you'll bring these together. So this is what your top plate looks like. The blue will be the aluminum. This would be the very bottom piece if you were looking all the way. That's your bottom piece of polycarb. So this would be your blue, so you'd notch that for that. And then these guys would go ahead and slot back in. And then you would put the ends in, and then you would go ahead and screw these part and sandwich. So it's trapped. So it can't go anywhere. You got plenty of room for it to grow and move around. And then again, this is like looking at it from the top, and then you'll have your bolts you slide through. I didn't bother putting this on there, but you know, if you want to, you can. So that goes there. So anyway, I think that's it for that. So I just was trying to find something that was small enough. I went ahead and found these low pro Allen heads. Um, I prefer to do this type of thing because you can route it if you wanted to. Problem is you're putting a groove on one side. So whether you want to do a two-step where you groove this first and then flip it over and go ahead and machine countersink these, you could, or if you have a mill or whatever. I just don't like countersink screws because you never can quite get them to tighten up properly. When you do the cone, if it's not perfect, then it forces this piece to move up and down. You know, as you tighten it, it forces it to go. These are so small, these are almost only 0.07 tall here, that you could actually surface mount these probably. So that way, you know, and these are zinc, so they're silver, they look nice. And it has a nice finished look. So again, these are number 8s. If you dare to go even smaller with number 6s. What's nice about this design is this is going to be doing all the work. So these are no longer going to try to hold a box together. So these are really only to keep minimal load from this thing ever just coming apart. So you might be able to bring these down to like a number 6 if you want. These are at number 8. And again, I'm just spitballing. You can change all these sizes to whatever you want to change them to. So this is just showing the spar running down. That's not going to be inside the sign. But anyway, I think you get the idea. Contact me. You can ping me if there's any other ideas. So then you can see where the bottom here will slide in. And then I just have that spacing. So you can change those however you see fit. But I think that's a good idea. A good way to get it started. So there you go.